NFL fans, welcome back to my final predictions for Week 8. There's been a ton of injury news that's come out over the last few days. I've changed some of my picks, so I'm going to let you know what picks I changed and go over all the games for this week. We have a full slate of games, 16 games. Here are my final predictions for Week 8. All right, NFL fans, we're going to start with the Baltimore Ravens and the Cleveland Browns. Most of us who follow the NFL know Deshaun Watson is done for the year. Will we ever see Deshaun Watson play again in the NFL as a starter? I have my doubts about that situation. I'm going with the Ravens still to win this game, but Zay Flowers popped up on the injury report. It looks like that ankle, he's dealing with like a high ankle sprain type of situation, right? So it's not looking good for him to play on Sunday, especially because they're playing the Browns. They might want to rest him and get him healthy for games that matter a little bit more. I'm sticking with the Baltimore Ravens. Then we go to the Tennessee Titans at the Detroit Lions. Wide receiver Jameson Williams, he's suspended for the next 2 games for PEDs, right? It hasn't been released like what he took or like if he's filing for agreements or anything like that, but it doesn't look like he's going to fight it. He's going to serve the 2-game suspension, so he is out this week versus the Titans. Luckily, it doesn't really matter. It looks like Mason Rudolph is going to be starting again for the Titans. Also, the Titans traded away DeAndre Hopkins to the Kansas City Chiefs. It makes the Chiefs a lot better, and it makes the Titans even worse if that was possible, right? But their defense is really good. Like, very, very good. I think they're going to, the under a lot of pundits are saying could be a potential bet here. I'm still going with the Lions, but it might be a smidge closer than people think. I still think they cover the 11.5 points, but I'm going with the Detroit Lions to win this game. All right, next up, we got the Green Bay Packers at the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Packers got Jair Alexander back, so he's probably going to lock down Brian Thomas Jr. in my opinion. But Evan Ingram is back in this offense. He's a huge, huge benefactor of this offense with Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence loves himself some Evan Ingram, right? Gabe Davis, I'm not a big fan of. The Packers defense has given up a lot of yards both through the air and on the ground. But the Packers also lead the NFL in turnovers, right? They're very opportunistic. And Jacksonville Jaguars quarterback Trevor Lawrence throws a lot of interceptions down the field. And that's the only real chance I think they have of winning this game is hitting some big shots down the field and running the ball effectively. But the Packers have been playing better and better each week. They really impressed me against the Cardinals, shutting down James Conner and company. So I'm going to go with the Packers to win this game, but it's probably going to be pretty close. I just think the Packers are just better coached. They have a better overall roster. They have great young wide receivers. That defense is really coming into its own as well. So I'm going with the Green Bay Packers. Next up, Colts and the Texans. This is a rematch from Week 1. The game was really, really close. But CJ Stroud is considerably better at home than he's been on the road this year. Luckily for Texans fans, they are at home. The Colts are getting Jonathan Taylor back. That's a huge plus. I think this game is going to be really close. The defense has just been okay for the Colts, but Anthony Richardson, too many turnovers, very inaccurate with the football. Unless they can establish the run and Taylor goes for over 100 yards, I'm going with the Texans in this spot, but I think it's a really close game. Very similar to the game we saw in Week 1. The Texans barely get it done. We have another rematch, Jets and the Patriots from earlier in the year when the Jets blew the brakes off of Jacoby Brissett and the Patriots. New quarterback, they're facing Drake May for the first time. This is a do-or-die game for the Jets. If they don't win this game, their season is over, and they might as well send Aaron Rodgers packing and let the backup quarterback play in this roster to see if he's got any juice. They drafted a young quarterback this year who could potentially play for them. The Jets. The defense has been underperforming, but they're still facing the Patriots, right? The Patriots aren't very good. Even though Drake May, he's got 5 touchdowns in his first 2 games. Very impressive. But I just don't think this roster has enough juice to beat the Jets. The Jets have their backs up against the wall in a must-win game. I'm still going with the Jets. Eagles, Bengals. I've been rolling back and forth from this. No Mulata for the Eagles. Mekhi Becton is dealing with a concussion. He's not going to play either, the right guard for the Eagles. But I do like Tyler Steen, who's going to plug and play for Becton, right? But Fred Johnson has not been very good, the left tackle. He's going up against Hendrickson. That could be a huge issue for the Philadelphia Eagles. But on the flip side, the Bengals offensive line is dealing with a ton of injuries as well. Orlando Brown dealing with a knee injury. They're already without Trent Brown. So they don't have one guy on this offensive line over a 66 PFF grade. So this offensive line is not very good. I've been going back and forth and back and forth. But for whatever reason, I'm rolling with the Birds. Even though this offensive line has to step up to win this game. I think it's going to be a turnover game. What quarterback doesn't turn the ball over? Is it going to be Hurts or is it going to be Burrow? Jalen Hurts has not turned the ball over the last 2 weeks. I think that continues. The Eagles get the W. All right, the Atlanta Falcons versus the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers have a litany of injuries, right? No Chris Godwin, no Mike Evans. And then Bucky Irving's dealing with a toe issue. It doesn't look like he's going to play. So that's going to be Rachaad White, who I'm not a big fan of. I think he sucks. The Falcons got to win this game, right? Mooney had a monster game versus the Buccaneers earlier in the year. I think Kirk Cousins bounces back from that loss last week. The Buccaneers offense is just decimated, right? Completely decimated. I don't know how they move the ball. The Falcons defense is slightly above average. I'm going with the Falcons to get the W. Cardinals, Dolphins. I've been going back and forth on this game all week. Tua's back. Everyone thinks that Tua's going to rock and roll. He's going to get back in there. I look for the Dolphins to actually try to establish the run game more than anything. Take some heat off of Tua. That offensive line hasn't been too good. But I originally was going with Arizona, but I'm flipping to the Dolphins because I think this team is going to rally behind Tua. They're going to be excited to play for him, excited to get a win for him. It's going to be a close game, but I'm flipping to the Dolphins in the last quarter. All right. Buffalo Bills, Seattle Seahawks. Another game that I've been flip-flopping, but I'm going with the Seahawks. I originally went with the Bills. I'm flip-flopping. Here's why. It's supposed to rain there. It's going to be a dirty, nasty, rainy, bad weather type of game. And the Seahawks, it's really tough to beat the Seahawks at home, man. In a rain game, the Bills are flying across the country. I'm going with the Seahawks. I'm rolling with the Seahawks. Going with some momentum they got from last week. I'm going with the Seahawks to get the W. All right, NFL fans, we're moving on to the Saints on the road versus the Chargers. Spencer Rattler's back at the helm again. He's been sacked like a bajillion times the last couple weeks. Kamara's on the injury report now. The Chargers are at home. They got a really tough defense. The Saints are just banged up on the offensive line, skill position players, quarterback. The Chargers get a W, man. They got to. There's a lot of chalk games this week, but I'm just calling it like I see it, man. There could be an upset here, an upset there, but some of these teams are just so overmatched, decimated with injuries. The chalk might be the right picks this week. Chiefs, Raiders, no Devontae Adams. He's gone. Gardner Minshew's the quarterback. Aiden O'Connell is hurt. He's out for the next few weeks. The Chiefs just got DeAndre Hopkins. I'm rolling with the Chiefs. How could you not? Panthers, Broncos. I'm going with the Broncos. The Panthers have so many injuries, it doesn't even make sense. Like, they're on like their 8th string at every position on defense. No Adam Thielen, no Deontay Johnson this week. Bryce Young is going to be the quarterback because Dalton got in a car accident earlier in the week. He's out. I'm taking the Broncos all day. 11 points is a big spread, though. But they've lost every single game this year by more than the spread. So, maybe taking the Broncos in the points isn't a bad idea, but the Broncos get it done all day. Here's another game that's a coin flip. Bears, Commanders. I'm going with the Bears. Jaden Daniels is not 100%. The Bears have a really good defense. Caleb Williams is rolling. I just think they have a better overall roster right now. I do like the Commanders' offense, but their defense is not very good. I expect Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, and Rome Odunze to eat versus the Commanders' defense. I like the Bears in this spot. Cowboys, 49ers. I originally had the Cowboys, but the more research I've done, teams that can't run the ball effectively against the 49ers lose, straight up. And teams that can't stop the run, so that the Cowboys can't run the football or stop the run, that's a huge recipe for a loss versus Shanahan and the 49ers. I'm rolling with the 49ers. Monday night, Giants, Steelers, the tale of two good D lines, right? Dexter Lawrence is one of the best defensive players in the NFL. Can they get to Russell Wilson? We'll have to see. But I just trust the Pittsburgh Steelers defense to really shut down the Giants offense. Daniel Jones got sacked 8 times against the Eagles, and the Eagles D-line is mediocre at best. What is TJ Watt and Highsmith going to do? I love the Pittsburgh Steelers in this spot to get the W. That's my Week 8 picks. Final predictions, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Peace.